Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our first meeting of the year of the HR Committee. I'm Martina Chait-Hartwig. I'm going to be taking roll call this morning. We'll begin with Mayor Jones. I don't believe he's attending our meeting this morning. Deputy Mayor Moher, are you here?
Here.
Good morning. Councillor at Large Tom Watt, are you available?
Here.
Excellent. Councillor of Dummer Ward, Sheila Landsman.
I'm here.
Welcome. And Councillor of Douro Ward, Heather Watson. Good morning. We also have CAO Alana Arthurs with us, and Megan Knight from SHRP is going to be our guest today. She's here to review the policies with us that are on the agenda for later. With a quorum being present, I call the meeting to order. And our first order of business is the election of a chair for the committee for the term of 2022. Are there any nominations for chair? Councillor Watt?
I enjoy doing stuff like that, but I think I mentioned before, I kind of like the idea of switching up and having other people do, giving other people a chance, stuff like that. And I'm going to nominate Councillor Watson for chair.
I have a seconder for that nomination.
I will second that.
Thank you. Councillor Watson, do you accept that nomination?
Yes, I do accept that. Thank you.
Excellent. So that is carried. And we now need a nomination for a vice chair. Sheila, Councillor Sheila, who would you like to nominate?
I'll nominate Mr. Watt. He did a fine job last time. And
excellent. And may I have a seconder for that nomination, please? Councillor Watson, thank you. And Councillor Watt, do you accept that nomination as vice chair?
I will, yes, thank you. And thank you for the compliment, Sheila.
Excellent. So I'll now turn it over to our new chair, Heather Watson.
Thank you, Martina. Just a technical standpoint, can folks hear me okay? I was having some audio troubles just as I was signing in. I'm good. All right,
you're
thank
good.
You very much. Excellent. And thank you, Tom, for your service this past year as chair of the committee. Moving on, do we have a disclosure of pecuniary interest today? Seeing none. And Sheila?
what is that noise in the background?
I think there's a little bit of noise coming from you, Megan. I don't know if you can mute until we get to her. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Sheila. Moving on, the adoption of the agenda. Can we get a motion for the adoption of the agenda, please? Councillor Watt? Deputy Mayor Moher? All in favor? Great. And on to the adoption of the minutes. A motion for the adoption of the minutes. Deputy Mayor Moher? Councillor Landsman? All in favor? Approved. Is there any business arising out of the minutes? Seeing nothing. So we've got our work cut out for us as we're moving on to the HR policy manual, item 7.1. Of course, we've had the draft now for quite some time. I want to say it was sent to us back in November, I believe. Alana, before we start digging in on this, do you have anything that you want to just give us an overview on?
Sure. Thank you, Councillor Watson. Just a bit of background. So when we developed these, Sarah with this SHRP went through them with myself. Megan is, I'm sure she's familiar with the policies, but new a little bit to the process. But she is here so that if we want to make some changes, we can do those without me collecting all the data or Martina and I collecting it and sending it back. They are our HR policies, so it's not something that receives approval from council. So it's the staff that will develop them, but I thought this was a good forum to have the discussion. I think you all bring a wealth of knowledge in a different aspect that can help us through some of these. Councillor Landsman did provide me with some notes ahead of time, which were great, honestly. And there's a lot of things in there that I think are either good discussion or will be amendments that need to be made, whether it was just in spelling errors and that sort of thing. So I appreciate that. I'm not sure with the other members how you want to go through it. Obviously, it is a lengthy document. If there's specifics that we want to address, but I will leave that up to the chair to sort of determine how you want to move through, and we'll try to identify any problem areas and make any changes that need to be done so we can finalize the document.
Great, thank you for that, Alana. And just a quick question before I call on Deputy Mayor Moher. Were there any other members of council who sent other comments in, whether it's to you, Alana, or members of council, just so that I know that we're all looking at the same documentation currently?
I don't have anything formal. I know we had chatted before, so if you sent them, I didn't see them, but I don't have anything formal. I did just the document that we didn't make any changes based on any other comments that were received, even though some of them were very minor and it's easy to do, and we don't necessarily need to go through all of those individual like spelling issues. But the document that you received is still as it stands, so nothing has been modified at this point.
Great, thank you very much. Deputy Mayor Moher?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I felt bogged down with this whole policy. I just picked it up 2 or 3 times trying to read it, and there were so many things I didn't agree with that I just put it aside. So thanks to Sheila, who routed her notes to me, a copy of them. I don't think we should spend time here today going through it piece by piece. I would say give it back to Megan to, it's obviously cut and paste off a union environment. Like, those words have got to be changed. A lot of those words and a lot of the things that Sheila, thanks to Sheila, came up with are right on. So that's my feeling. I think we're all busy, and I don't want to get down to say what's this or what's that. I think we need to have a policy that reflects where we are and where we want to go. That's my 2 cents worth. Sorry to be so harsh, but that's it. Like union, local, and so on. Like, did no one look at this before? Well, I shouldn't say that. I guess, I give it back to Megan to, like, you're the experts in HR to fix it up. Sorry to be so hard.
Deputy Mayor Moher, some good points. I'm seeing some nods around the table. Megan, did you want to comment on any of that with respect to the union language that's throughout?
I didn't touch this policy manual yet. I've started reading through it, but I did notice that there were some references. So if you'd like I can start from there and then we can touch base about that after. And then I can go through Sheila's notes and make those changes if everybody's in agreement, and then we can revisit it if you'd like.
Okay. What does the rest of council feel? Sheila?
Thank you. Through you, as Alana mentioned, I did read all 314 pages of it. It was lovely reading. It was interesting, but it just seemed to me that one of the comments I made to Alana in my notes was that possibly there should be, like, for instance, definitions of different things, because I'm sure the word disability applies the same definition no matter what section of the policy it's looking at. It just seemed to me there was the whole policy could be reduced in size and cumbersome, that if all the definitions were together and that definition referred to that word throughout the whole policy. And that is probably one place I would start. Just my thoughts. But I do think it has some major revisions necessary.
Tom?
Yes, thank you through you, Mr. Chair. I agree. It is a big policy. It's a lot of reading. It took 2 or 3 sit-backs to get through one into the other. And by the time you do that, you're kind of, at a loss of what you did in the first round or two, whatever. What I did read was good. I liked the highlights in red, we knew where changes were being made and updates and stuff like that. But I do agree there is stuff in there that does need to be changed, does need to come out. Good idea. Thank you, Sheila, for the notes. That was very, very helpful. But I do agree. Yes, I don't think we have to have this in place today. If we went back and along with Sheila's notes and the comments made today and went over it, I think that's probably the way we should go.
Okay. So does anyone care to craft a motion to direct this back to staff? Carl?
I would move to refer the policies back to SHRP, Megan Megan and her associates to come up with an efficient policy that we could maybe review at a near future meeting. With the help of staff, senior staff of the township as well.
And is there a seconder for that motion?
I would
Sheila?
second that to make a comment, if I may. I didn't mention that I do agree with Carl's comments about the union references. They should all be removed from there. But yes, I will second that.
Okay. Any comments to the motion? I will, just before we do that vote, just comment to say, although it sounds like we're dumping on this, there's a lot of good stuff in there too. And I know that staff have put a lot of work and effort into pulling together all of these documents, and certainly thank you to staff for that. The wording, of course, sounds like it's a concern. So we'll just call the vote. All in favor? All right. So we will shoot it back to staff and ask to bring it back to us once it's been retooled again. Moving on to, I guess that's 7.2 now. CAO update regarding HR activities. Alana?
Thank you. If I can just make a quick comment just on the policy before we move on. If there's anything that anybody else has, if you can just forward it. And Megan, I'll touch base with you and you and I can set up a Zoom meeting. We'll go through definitely Councillor Landsman's notes and then anything else that's specific. I know it's a large document and it's a lot of reading. So I didn't expect the thorough review that we received. I thought more would be sort of pieced, and anything that really sticks out that you're not comfortable with or anything that you would like to see modified, if you could just send me a quick email and then Megan and I can work through that and get it back to you. Megan, you're good to go. I'll touch base with you.
It'd be nice to get it down to about 50 pages maximum.
That would be nice, but I'm not sure that we're going to get there.
I will try my best.
And it is intended to be a bit of a consolidation too. It's not, I think there's many municipalities you'd go into where these policies are in all kinds of different areas. So I know it's large, but it's intended to be that consolidation. So anyway, thank you, Megan. And I will touch base with you. We'll set up a time in the next week or so.
Perfect. No problem.
Thanks, Megan. So on to 7.2, Alana.
So I just wanted to take a quick minute just to let you know sort of what was happening. If you're seeing ads and that kind of thing, we have a lot going on in the township. So our senior administrative assistant is due to have a baby the beginning of March. So we have just put out an ad to cover her maternity leave. Paul is in the process of going through interviews for the financial analyst position. We have conducted some interviews. That is still outstanding yet. There may be some additional interviews that need to be done, but we're working through that process. Brian has put out for his admin position for buildings, so you may see that one come out. And then finally, we'll be looking at the planner position, which I haven't fully put together yet, but we will be shortly. We do have one of our admin who left the end of December and was covering a maternity leave, and that position is due to return the end of January. So there is a lot going on, and hopefully by the time we reach March or so, we will have a full complement. But if you're seeing ads out there, please share them. Please encourage people to apply, and we will try to keep you updated as we bring people in. I know Jake actually just sent me a message as well. We had hired an equipment operator who took a position with the county, and we were also in the process of backfilling a laborer position. So he's just sent me an email that I believe the laborer position he has somebody he would like to offer it to. They've conducted the interviews for that, and they will also be going back out for the equipment operator. So there is a lot of transition happening right now, but we're trying to stay on top of it. We definitely are a little light on the admin side, so please bear with us if you're feeling like things aren't getting back super prompt, especially for Martina. She's managing clerk, planner with no admin. So it'll be a little bit busy over the next month or so for her. Just not necessarily the human resource aspect of things, but I also am working through that compensation review with Gallagher. So I have a meeting with her on Thursday, and hopefully we'll have something coming back to council on that as well. Are there any questions about any of that?
No good news that Don Donaldson is coming back?
No.
Okay.
I didn't hear that.
I just wanted to know if there was any good news about Dave Donaldson coming back to work with the town.
Oh, okay.
You're muted, Heather.
There you go. It's a new role. I forgot how to push the button. Councillor Watt.
Yes, thank you. Not maybe so much. I know Mike gave us a good overview of what was going on with the arenas and parks and stuff like that. And now we're kind of in this shutdown situation again like that. Is there any thought about, like, our arena's totally closed? Well, I guess our Warsaw one is anyway. And I'm guessing that's something that they just couldn't bring in a new unit and fix it. It's going to take quite a while to fix that, probably flush things out and everything else. But is our Douro arena also closed completely until things are over?
Through the chair to Councillor Watt, yes, they are closed. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. We did lay off our part-time staff. I believe Mike has kept on 2 to do some maintenance and that sort of thing. Hopefully we reopen in 3 weeks, but then it also will depend on what minor hockey decides to do, whether or not we see the increased participation at Douro and we need to bring the majority of the guys back, or whether some of that will be canceled based on the shutdown. So it's just a wait and see, unfortunately. But right now, yes, both arenas are closed. And the Warsaw one, we did, obviously the chiller was the issue, so we don't have ice, and we won't plan to put that back in for this season. And we will have something coming to council. Mike's just waiting on some numbers to come back so that we can provide a report to council on what that looks like.
Any other questions of Alana? Deputy Mayor Moher.
You're muted, Carl.
Yeah, you were muted, sir.
Sorry, I just wondered, you mentioned, Alana, about Mike keeping on 2 part-times. With all the restrictions going on, what would they be doing? Like, these restrictions are pretty severe right now.
Through you, Deputy Mayor Moher, or through you, Chair, to Deputy Mayor Moher, they're doing just some maintenance work in the arenas. So there's some painting, the stripping of floors and that sort of thing that needs to be done. So in the budget, there was the allocation for another person in parks. So we're within our budget to maintain the 2 part-times just to get through the next couple of weeks. And again, it will reevaluate then after the 3-week period to determine if we need others to come back or where we're at. If we are still in shutdown, if the lockdown continues, it may end up that those 2 are laid off as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions?
I don't have.
I just have one. Alana, you were talking about all the hiring and activity that's going on around hiring. How can you comment, just based on a preliminary stage right now, how the labor pool looks right now, what the responses have been to postings? Do you think we're going to be in it for the long haul trying to fill these positions, or do you think we'll be able to fill them pretty, not so easily, but handily?
Well, I will say I feel like since I arrived, we've been doing recruitment. And it just seems, for a variety of situations, and some has been lack of resumes received. There's been movement for various reasons. I don't think that the movement has been because people are unhappy. I think other opportunities have presented themselves, and therefore people have moved on. It's tough. It is tough. And I think given the pandemic, it's a combination of things. People that are in positions probably want to remain there and remain secure. It's financial, absolutely. When we look at the pay ranges and what people are receiving and other postings that are out there, it's even, some of our labor postings, we didn't get a lot initially and we had to go back out. So I think it's a combination of things, but it's a tough time to be recruiting. We're trying to give ourselves ample time, especially, the financial analyst position. It's a newly created position. So it's likely that we're going to find somebody that will have to provide notice, and then we have training, and we're trying to do things virtually. So we're trying to get ahead of all of that so that hopefully we'll have people in place when things reopen. But it is definitely taking some time to find adequate people to fill those roles.
Sure. So to echo your sentiment, whatever we can do to continue to share those postings and encourage people to apply, I'm sure we'll all do our best there. Councillor Watt, did you have your hand up?
Yes, if I could, thank you very much to you. For our next meeting, there's no big panic on, but for our next meeting, can we also put on the agenda a closed session so we can get an update on employees that are not with us at the moment? No big panic on it. The next meeting there's plenty of time. It's just nice to know where we're sitting. So Thank you.
Great. So moving on then, seeing no further questions, Elena, could we get a motion to receive that update? Is that necessary, Madam Clerk? Yep. A motion to receive Elena's verbal report. Councillor Watt, Councillor Lansman, all in favor? Thank you. And I don't see a closed session on the agenda. I'm assuming that's still the case. So moving on for a motion to adjourn, please. Deputy Mayor Moher, Councillor Lansman, all in favor? Great.
Before everyone
Thank you
goes,
very
do we want to set the meeting for our next meeting? I know that I believe this time frame is conflicting with our committee of the whole. So do we want to take a look? It's fine to do it maybe the same day if Tuesdays work. Just shift the time a little bit. But while we have everybody here, do we want to just set that and then we're well ahead?
Sure. I don't.
Sure.
May I just get my calendar?
Absolutely.
And if Martina or Elena, you want to suggest something that works with the rotation?
Sorry, Martina, do you have
Sorry.
offhand what our committee of the whole, was it the second Tuesday? Is that what we decided?
Through you, Madam Chair, the committee of the whole will be the second Tuesday of every month at 10 a.m.
So that's February the 8th.
Correct.
If I may, just ask a question through the chair. When do you expect, Alana, that Megan will be back to you with information? As you said, you were going to chat with her this week. So would that be something we should be discussing at the next meeting? So that might govern the date.
Yeah, I don't think that I'll have an issue coming back to you in a month. I think it'll be a conversation with Megan and I. We'll go through, they can make the changes on the fly and then we can bring it back. It may, I suppose if you want considerable amount of time to review it again, then I would want to be able to provide that to you as opposed to just the agenda popping on and only having a few days. So that would be the only thing, depending on what the intent is of the committee and the extent of the review that you want to have done.
Okay.
We can always bring it back to the March meeting as well. We can set up the February meeting, do a closed session. I can update you on what's happening with our hiring, and then we can bring these back in March.
Whatever works for everybody. I'm good with.
So what, remind me again, please, the committee of the whole meeting is scheduled for the 8th of February, is that correct?
Yep, through you, Madam Chair,
And-
that is correct, at 10 o'clock. And I imagine it'll
At 10
take,
o'clock.
an hour and a half perhaps.
So would it make sense to have this committee meeting either immediately prior or following that meeting? Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
There's a possibility the service review could be at 9 o'clock that morning. I'm not sure whether we want to continue on the second Wednesday of each month or not. I believe that Alana will be bringing a report to council, so that report may include recommendations for future meetings as well.
Fair enough. Is this meeting, I thought that this committee is one that is assembled on an ad hoc nature. Are we looking to set a monthly meeting now, Alana? Is that what you're hoping to achieve?
Through you, Madam Chair. I think if we can set a meeting, I think it's great. You are correct. We have just done it on as an ad hoc, and I may have been thinking about the Service Delivery Review Committee being at the same time. So it's probably still beneficial if we can take a look at something, as it seems we'll have a lot of meetings coming up sort of the beginning, unless this committee is comfortable to wait on that closed session discussion. And I will go back to the policies and then come back to council, or this committee, I'm sorry, with some information. And at that point, we can decide how much time you need to review them and maybe aim for March to come back if you're comfortable with that.
That's fine.
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that makes sense. If that works for the cadence of when you need the approval of the policies and all of that stuff as well, we'll kind of look back to staff for direction on that. But it looks like, and I recall Councillor Watt mentioned that he wasn't in a rush to get that report back for a closed session. So yeah, we'll wait until March, it sounds like.
Okay. Are Tuesdays generally good if we try to work within that as a day? Okay. Okay. So maybe we'll look to mid-March to bring this committee back and bring those policies back. And then hopefully I'll have some really great HR updates at that point.
Fantastic. Councillor Landsman, although I feel like Madam Clerk is, we've already adjourned technically, so I don't know what to do here. I'm new at this.
Madam Chair, we can just hold the adjournment and change the time. So that's no problem. We're still recording, so
Okay.
we're being very transparent.
Okay, great. Thank you. Councillor Landsman.
Yes, thank you. Can somebody just confirm the dates that we have now? What is the 8th of February? That's Committee of the Whole. 10 o'clock.
Yep.
And there's nothing else on that date.
There may be a service delivery review through you, Madam Chair, but that's just for the service delivery review members.
Oh,
And there
okay.
probably will be a new chairperson there because it's an annual appointment as well.
There will be a report coming to council on that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So I think we're okay now. So now we're officially, we've already held that vote on a motion to adjourn, right?
We did.
We're just,
So-
so we're officially
Well-
adjourned. All right, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.